Hello everybody, I'm KC and welcome to an edition of Let's Talk About, and welcome to the latest installment of To Infinity War and Beyond. Now that we've introduced a couple of Earth's mightiest heroes, let's explore a different world altogether in Thor. On the distant realm of Asgard, Thor Odin's son, played by Chris Hemsworth, is a powerful and proud would-be king who tries to prove himself in the face of a supposed enemy, the Frost Giants. But when he fails, his father Odin, played by Anthony Hopkins, strips him of his powers and banishes him to Earth until he can prove his worth and save two worlds from an enemy closer to home than he realizes. Okay, I know I usually talk about the story first, but I just gotta say up front, this movie is gorgeous. While the previous movies tried to keep fantastical elements somewhat grounded in reality, this one goes all out in presenting the mysticism of a far-off land, one that would inspire mythology in our world, and not to the point where it looks silly. Asgard is absolutely stunning to look at and explore. The costume design is very elegant, making these characters look like dignified warriors and not just people in Halloween costumes. Even the Rainbow Bridge is radiant and spectacular and not, girly.
There's still enough pretty color left for one of us to slide down the Rainbow Bridge. Wow, there wasn't a manly word in that sentence.
It only took about 5 minutes until I was fully invested in this world. So the revelation that 20 minutes in, Thor would be banished and forced to spend the majority of the movie on Earth was not a confidence booster on my first watch through. I understood why they were doing it, and I did warm up to the idea when I was watching this again, but I was so entranced by the world of Asgard, and then we had to be stuck on Earth, and not even an interesting part of Earth, for over half the movie. But again, I get it a bit more now. At the very least, it's not the typical, oh, we found a portal and now we're stuck in the human world story that seems to be so popular nowadays. Odin didn't just send Thor to Earth to teach him humility, he did it to teach him true strength. Thor is definitely an interesting character in the MCU. Going by this first movie, he's like a knight in shining armor. He's strong, brave, and something of a gentleman. But he's also arrogant, boastful, and way too prideful. He loves his home and believes he's ready to be king, but he's so egocentric that he can't stand to have any kind of shame on him or his people, which is what gets him in trouble. So when he gets to Earth, he's not rude or entitled because of his past strength and status, he's courteous and does how he's told. Anything that could have been annoying about the fish out of water story is made funny through Thor's cultural misinterpretation. This could have been a difficult character to portray, but in another instance of perfect casting, Chris Hemsworth pulls it off with such elegance that you'd swear he was an alien. And I mean that in the best possible way. It's only when he hits rock bottom and is faced with a threat greater than him or all of his friends combined that he becomes a hero, learning a strength greater than the power of thunder, of bravery in the face of adversity, of self-sacrifice for the sake of those who wish to stand with you even if they aren't as physically strong. Basically, of compassion. That is the strength of humanity. And learning that will not only change Thor's outlook for good, but will be what makes him stand out from his fellow Asgardians in his future appearances. As far as the rest of the cast, oh boy, this may be the biggest supporting cast of Phase 1. There are a lot of characters here, I'm not even sure where to start. Back on Earth, why not? We have Thor's love interest, Jane Foster, played by Natalie Portman, and watching this again actually made me really like Jane. She's kind of a firecracker of a character, so enthralled in her research as an astrophysicist that it's her only focus. You can sense both frustration at how many things get in the way of her work, to passion for what she truly loves about studying this stuff in the first place, and that's a difficult combination to pull off. In that way, her and Thor are sort of kindred spirits. The things they loved gave them their greatest faults, which made me buy the romance a lot more in how much they grow and connect together. It's kind of sweet. The rest of the group? Take 'em or leave 'em. Selvig was fine, I guess, but Darcy had to go. She hardly does anything. Is this a character from the comics that they're representing badly or something? Is that why they keep her around? And while they may not be the villains, S.H.I.E.L.D. interferes a lot in this movie. In fact, this movie is the most involvement they have before the Avengers. In Iron Man 2, they showed up about halfway in, but they're around the whole time in this one. Studying Thor's hammer and... Oh, hi, Hawkeye! Nice to see you cameo in a scene where you don't even get to shoot an arrow. Have fun being Loki's meat puppet through 3/4 of the Avengers. And since this is the most involvement he's had, I think now's as good a time as any to mention Agent Phil Coulson, played by Clark Gregg. Coulson is definitely a character with a lot of personality. He's the kind of guy who would smile when you enter a room and put you in a hemlock if you cross him. I'd place a lot of the credit for that on Clark Gregg himself, making someone who could have been just an average secret agent and made him into someone with such charisma, even in the smallest doses. I just love Coulson, and I'm sure he'll have many more enjoyable movie performances after this. What? While the human characters can be hit or miss, the Asgardians give off a real larger-than-life feel, even with some of them not having that much screen time. From Lady Sif in The Warriors 3, to Anthony Hopkins' marvelous portrayal of Odin, and of course, you have the man that launched 1,000 Tumblr accounts, Loki. I'm sure a lot of you are waiting for this part, which is understandable. Loki is the most complex character in the movie. By that I mean, you cannot figure this guy out. He earns his title as the god of mischief. And I think what makes Loki so popular is his duplicity. He's a cunning mastermind and a lost soul finding his place in a world he doesn't belong to. He's 2 steps ahead and does the most despicable things, but Thor still cares about him, and that sentiment isn't lost on him. While Loki has a clear lust for power, it seems like more than anything, he wants respect. There's a lot to Loki, and with characters like Luna and Zuko being adored, it's no wonder that he became so insanely popular. That and Tom Hiddleston absolutely owns this performance. Seriously, this character wouldn't be half as good if it wasn't for him. Or his really cool arsenal of powers he has, like, wait a minute. I completely forgot that he could do that. Why doesn't he do that anymore? I know that Loki openly rejects his frost giant origins, but I can think of quite a few times after this where being able to turn someone into an ice sculpture right in front of you would have come in very, very handy. Anyway. I also do like that this movie doesn't have a perfect happy ending. It has a hopeful ending, but this journey left some scars. Thor destroys the bridge to save the 9 realms, presumably cutting him off from Jane indefinitely, leaving her alone, and Loki vanished into space and is presumably dead. I mean, he's not obviously, he's too marketable to really kill off, but still, it's a pretty ambiguous ending. And I kinda like that. Overall, Thor is a bit of a mixed bag, though not as mixed as I thought it was at first. It's incredibly creative, the characters that are good are really good, and it almost seamlessly introduces an element of epic fantasy in a series of movies that's been pretty grounded so far. Though I will admit, if this was the only Thor movie, I'd probably be harsher on it. When I say these grand, mystical environments and many different worlds to explore, being stuck on Earth where every other movie takes place until Guardians feels like such a downgrade and being kinda cheated out of something bigger. But luckily, this was only the beginning, and the God of Thunder would go on to defend many other realms sooner than he might have thought. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.